In 1995, the average house in Dublin cost about €82,500. Today, that same house is over €400,000, an increase of around 385% in 30 years. According to the Central Statistics Office, the median annual earnings in 2023 were €38,000, only a small increase from €35,000 in 2008. What caused this dramatic rise? One major factor is the influx of foreign investment. Attracted by Ireland's low corporate taxes and strong economy, international buyers have driven up property prices, making it hard for locals to compete. But that's not all. The limited housing supply worsens the problem. After the Celtic Tiger era, between 1995 and 2007, many projects were left unfinished due to the financial crisis that left many builders bankrupt. During the boom, Ireland's economy grew rapidly, leading to a surge in construction. However, the financial crisis of 2008 hit hard, causing a severe recession. According to the Central Statistics Office, housing completions fell from over 90,000 units in 2006 to just about 8,000 units in 2013. Owen Murphy, the Minister for Housing, Planning, and Local Government from 2017 to 2020, pledged to address the housing crisis and significantly increase the number of new homes being built. However, despite his efforts, the housing crisis continued to worsen during his tenure, with many accusing him of not fulfilling his commitments to deliver adequate housing solutions. What went wrong with his strategies? Murphy's strategies included the Rebuilding Ireland plan, which aimed to deliver 25,000 new homes per year. However, the actual outcomes fell short of these targets, leading to increased homelessness and soaring property prices. The failure to meet these goals drew widespread criticism from the public and opposition parties, who argued that the measures were insufficient and poorly implemented. Murphy eventually resigned from his ministerial position in 2020, amid growing pressure and dissatisfaction with the government's handling of the housing situation. His case exemplifies the challenges and political repercussions associated with failing to deliver on ambitious housing promises in Ireland. Urban population growth in Dublin, Cork, and Galway has put a lot of pressure on housing in these areas. This growth is driven by both internal migration and international immigration, causing prices to keep going up. Now, many young Irish people feel they'll never own a home. Renting isn't a good alternative either, as rents have soared, especially in Dublin. Executive Director of Amnesty International Ireland, Stephen Bowen, said it is appalling that over 4,000 children are living in emergency accommodation, while tens of thousands of young people will never be able to afford a home of their own. This is due to failure after failure by government after government to afford the people of Ireland adequate housing rights protections, he said. The dream of owning a home, once central to Irish life, is fading for many. Just like the buying market, the rental market has also become a battleground. Many Irish families are being priced out of their homes, despite new policies and economic growth. Rental prices have soared, with Dublin's average rent for a one-bedroom apartment over €2,000 per month, compared to under €800 in the early 2000s. Wages for many workers haven't kept up. In fact, the average wage has hardly changed since the early 2000s. But what has caused this? One main reason is the imbalance between supply and demand. Job opportunities and educational institutions have attracted many people to urban centers like Dublin, but new rental properties haven't kept up. As said before, this shortage is partly due to complex planning and regulatory bottlenecks that slow down construction, worsened by the financial crisis that bankrupted many construction companies. Yet, these are not the only hurdles. One big issue is the impact of short-term rental platforms like Airbnb. Property owners often prefer renting to tourists short-term rather than to long-term tenants. This trend has taken many properties out of the long-term rental market, tightening supply. A 2023 report by the Residential Tenancies Board, RTB, showed that short-term rentals make up about 15% of all rental properties in Dublin, up from 5% in 2015. This shift has significantly reduced the availability of affordable housing for long-term renters. Government measures like rent control laws have had limited success, as many landlords find ways around these controls. The cost of living in Ireland has skyrocketed, especially housing costs. As we discussed earlier, both property and rental prices have shot up. This has eaten into people's disposable incomes, leaving many families with little to no savings. The Central Bank of Ireland says household debt is still high, which adds more financial stress. But what impact does this have on the broader cost of living? As Ireland faces rising living costs and economic gaps, many question if government policies are working. Despite efforts to tackle housing, income inequality, and living expenses, many feel the government's actions haven't done enough. The Help to Buy scheme offers tax rebates up to €30,000 for first-time buyers. While it helped some people buy homes, critics argue it raised house prices by increasing demand without enough new houses being built. Strict planning rules and slow approval processes also slow down construction, making it harder to increase the housing supply. So what about rental policies? Rent control laws cap rent increases at 4% per year in designated rent pressure zones, RPZs. However, many landlords bypass these controls by renovating properties to justify higher rents or converting them into short-term rentals. As a result, rent controls have had limited success, and rental prices continue to rise. This should have been a budget to resolve the housing crisis, but today Minister McGrath and Minister Donohoe have failed in that regard. He added, "Today's budget is further confirmation that they are not the ones to fix it. We needed a budget for renters. Instead, we got a budget for landlords," he said. The government needs to consider other measures to ease the rental market crisis. But what about other tax policies? The Universal Social Charge, USC, introduced in 2011, aims to broaden the tax base and generate revenue. However, it is seen as regressive, disproportionately affecting lower-income earners. Critics argue that it has widened income inequality, as tax policies have favored multinational corporations, concentrating wealth among higher earners. So, what more can be done to address these challenges? The rising cost of living and economic gaps in Ireland are hitting hard. These issues affect mental health, family life, and overall well-being. The housing crisis has nearly doubled homelessness since 2015, with over 10,000 people now homeless, including many families in temporary housing. Mental health issues have surged, with a 25% increase in people seeking services, but funding remains inadequate. Frequent moves due to high rents break community ties, leading to isolation. Schools in low-income areas face higher dropout rates and lower achievements. Many people juggle multiple jobs, causing job insecurity and stress. Addressing these issues requires both immediate help and long-term changes. With economic pressures mounting in Ireland, many are leaving for better opportunities abroad. Emigration, a key part of Irish history, is surging again as people escape high living costs and limited job prospects. But what does this mean for Ireland's future? Emigration rates have increased by 30% over the past 5 years. According to the Central Statistics Office, young professionals are leaving for better jobs and more affordable living conditions in countries like Canada, Australia, and the United States. High housing costs and stagnant wages are major reasons. This brain drain is not just about losing individuals, but also the country's future talent and innovation. The social impact is profound. Families are separated, causing emotional strain and weakening family bonds. Communities lose active members, which diminishes local vitality. The transition for those who leave is often challenging, with cultural adjustments and homesickness. As Ireland deals with rising living costs, economic gaps, and increasing emigration, finding effective solutions is crucial. Policymakers, economists, and community leaders are exploring ways to create a sustainable and fair future for all. One key area for reform is housing. The government aims to boost affordable housing by streamlining planning processes and converting vacant properties. They're studying successful models like modular housing from the Netherlands. Will this be enough? Rent control policies are also being looked at again. More comprehensive rent stabilization strategies are suggested to prevent exploitative practices while encouraging landlords to maintain properties. Could this balance tenants' and landlords' needs? Addressing wage stagnation is another crucial goal. Boosting job opportunities in sectors like technology and renewable energy, along with investment in education and vocational training, is key. But how fast can these changes happen? Healthcare and education costs need urgent attention. Expanding public health funding, subsidies for private insurance, and reducing tuition fees with more scholarships are critical steps. How can these policies reach those in need? Community-based solutions are also gaining traction. Local initiatives, like community centers offering childcare, job training, and mental health services, are vital. Encouraging local businesses can stimulate economic growth. Tax policies also need rethinking. Progressive tax reforms to ensure higher earners and corporations pay their fair share are essential. Closing tax loopholes is critical too. Housing Minister Dara O'Brien has been a central figure in addressing these issues, pushing for increased housing supply and streamlined planning processes. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Pascal Donohoe has defended the USC as necessary for economic stability, but faces pressure to reform tax policies to reduce inequality. Combining immediate relief with long-term planning is necessary to address Ireland's challenges. Can these solutions bring about the desired changes, or will new challenges arise? The future will reveal how Ireland navigates its path forward, aiming for a thriving society for all its citizens.